Hey there, West Michigan. Meteorologist Michael Behrens here, coming to you live from the 13 on your side Weather Center. We're keeping an eye on the risk for severe weather as we head into Monday evening. Storms that could bring the potential for damaging winds, hail, an isolated tornado or two, and certainly some heavy rains as we head through the next several hours. A couple of inches of rainfall in several spots over the next 12 hours, certainly not to be unexpected, and that could lead to some flooding, especially in low-lying areas and areas prone to collecting water. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the latest information that we have here. The radar right now showing the first round of rain working its way into West Michigan. But the good news with this round is a lot of the oomph has really fallen out of it as it crossed over Lake Michigan. So while we are seeing rain now working its way into Ottawa County, Muskegon, even western Kent, we're only seeing a few lightning strikes here. In fact, it looks to be only about 5 strikes in southern portions of Oceana County. There's some moderate showers in Newaygo County as well, but again, nothing severe here on this side of the lake. A stronger cell moving in toward Ludington, but pretty much no lightning with that. Really just heavy rainfall working its way toward portions of Mason County. But as you head into Wisconsin, that's where things change at this hour. We're tracking several severe thunderstorms, one of them further up to the north. That one, severe thunderstorm winds not quite there, about 50-mile-per-hour gusts, but it's producing hailstones that could be as large as 1.5 to 1.25 inches. And then a really strong thunderstorm that has worked its way through Madison, Wisconsin. This guy has picked up those severe winds, now 70 miles per hour in hailstones that could be as large as 2 inches. That one working its way toward Milwaukee here in the coming hours. And it's that second area of storms that's going to be arriving in the next several hours that we really have to be more concerned about here this evening, because that's going to have the better threat for severe weather as we head deeper into tonight. Those severe thunderstorm warnings out to the west are moving, or the severe thunderstorms, I should say, are moving to the east around 40 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and track that stronger cell. We'll show you where it would go in about the next hour or so. Again, moving toward the east about 40 miles per hour. It's still got some time before it makes its way toward us. In fact, it's only going to be just knocking on the door of Milwaukee here by about 5:22. So this is going to be coming into West Michigan as we head deeper into the evening, and it's going to be something we need to continue to watch as we head, of course, into tonight. As far as severe thunderstorm watches being issued out ahead of this system, we have seen one now come out for portions of Wisconsin. You can see that severe thunderstorm watch on your screen here. That watch is going to be, of course, for those storms out to the west, and it is going to be in place this evening until 9 o'clock. Of course, we're going to be watching that system as it crosses the lake to see if that severe threat does work its way toward us here in West Michigan. I think we will see some of those strong storms work their way toward us here in West Michigan as we head into this evening. Big picture here of the system. We'll show you what's going on right now. There are, again, thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms in Indiana, in Wisconsin. Looks like one stronger cell up in portions of the UP as well. But our concern going to be those storms that are, again, pushing out of Wisconsin this evening. That first wave, though, not likely to be severe. It's going to be what comes behind it that's going to have the stronger risk factor. And speaking of stronger risk factor, looks like we just got new information in from the Storm Prediction Center here. They have upgraded the southern portion of the severe weather outlook up to a level 4 out of 5 risk. That doesn't include much of us here in West Michigan, but southern portions of Van Buren County, southern Kalamazoo, southern Calhoun are under that higher risk factor for severe thunderstorms as we head into this evening. The biggest risk factors we're looking at here tonight are winds and flooding, rains. Hail would be a second factor that we'll be watching here this evening, and we can't rule out the risk for a tornado either, though the reason for that upgrade down toward the south is not for a tornadic risk. It's for the risk of damaging winds. That, again, is the highest potential that we're looking at for this evening. So let's go ahead and track the next several hours here with the hour-by-hour forecast. You can see that first wave of showers, again, largely dies off as we head towards 6 o'clock, but it's what comes after that that we'll be watching closely tonight. Heading past 9 o'clock tonight, we can see stronger cells working their way across Lake Michigan and into West Michigan. Again, the biggest threat for severe weather is going to be in our southern counties, I-94 corridor in south. That is where the higher risk for damaging winds will be, along with the risk for hail, and the higher risk for a tornado or two will be toward the south as well. These storms push through as we head past midnight, but you notice heavy rain and the possibility for a few strong cells continues even as we head past midnight into the early AM hours of Tuesday before it really starts to push out by Tuesday morning. And then the rest of Tuesday is expected to be dry, just getting rather on the hot side as temperatures surge up into the 90s. Feels like temperatures even hotter. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Rainfall potential for this evening looking to be highest in our northern zones. Grand Rapids to the north has the highest rainfall here on this particular model, but everywhere in West Michigan certainly going to see decent rainfall totals. And you can see here the excessive rainfall outlook covers pretty much all of West Michigan with that slight risk for flooding rains as we head through this evening. I do want to go ahead and show another version of that rainfall map here just so you guys can get a better idea of where some of those heavier rainfall totals end up going. Actually, we'll show the comparison here of those different rainfall totals. Really just a big swath of heavy rain that's going to move across West Michigan. The heaviest portions of it you can see inside each of those maps over Michigan is in excess of 2 inches. So it's going to be quite a night of some heavy rainfall for some of us here across the region. And again, that's why that risk for flooding covers the entirety of the 13 on your side viewing area. With that slight risk for flooding rains as we head toward this evening. But of course, as we mentioned, it's not just the severe weather tonight that we're watching. We're also watching the heat that comes in after it. It's usually kind of a opposite of our normal pattern where we would have the heat first, then the storms. We get the storms first this time, then the heat comes in tomorrow. Look at those feels like temperatures for Tuesday. They surge up north of 100 degrees, possibly even up above 105. It is going to be a hot afternoon in terms of feels like temperatures and a hot afternoon in terms of just the air temperature being in the 90s, and that's why there are heat advisories that go into effect at noon tomorrow, and those last through 10 o'clock Wednesday night. It's going to be conditions where if you're working outside, if you don't have air conditioning, you need to be ready to take breaks, ready to drink plenty of water, because it is going to be a hot forecast after we get past these storms that are moving through West Michigan this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the radar, show you the latest conditions that we have across the region, and then we'll take a look at some of the questions you guys have on Facebook as well. Right now, again, that storms that are pushing into West Michigan, not severe, not likely to be severe anytime soon, but it's those storms that are coming out of Wisconsin later this evening that we will certainly have to be watching pretty closely. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Facebook Live here on my phone, and we're going to take a look at what you guys are saying down in the comments. William commenting, they got thunder in Kent City. Danette saying they're hearing some pretty big booms. And yeah, there is some thunder out there in these systems as well. That's where we are seeing a few lightning strikes across West Michigan. Nothing severe, though. So use your standard caution that you would use anytime there's lightning outside, because we are seeing occasional strikes across the region. But again, the number not particularly large. In fact, when we put the lightning counter on here, only about 4 strikes in the last 10 minutes. So not the worst storms we've seen, and certainly not going to be the worst storms we'll see tonight. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. Rochelle, I think it was Rochelle, thunder in rain in Norton Shores. Jennifer reporting some thunder in Cedar as well. Teresa says sprinkles and some rumbles of thunder at Twin Lakes, a bit north of Muskegon. Kimberly saying, is Muskegon going to get a good storm? Possibly later tonight on that second round, could certainly see some stronger storms coming their way into West Michigan. So right now in Muskegon, just rainfall, but take a look across the lake here. You can see that severe thunderstorm to the east of Madison, Wisconsin. And the general path of these storms is going to take them into West Michigan. So as we head through the next several hours and we see one where this storm goes and 2 where the additional development comes later this afternoon, that's going to be our concern is for some of those storms later tonight. So the risk certainly still there for Muskegon to see some pretty good storms this evening. In fact, let me put that severe weather outlook back up on your screen here. Our biggest risk in West Michigan, again, are the winds, followed by the flooding, but all types of severe weather are possible. And we'll zoom in here just a little bit to Michigan. You can see Muskegon County and Kent County, for the most part, under those level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Severe weather risk drops off the further north you go and certainly picks up as you head down toward I-94. Again, southern portions of Kalamazoo, Calhoun County, and most of Van Buren County now under that level 4 out of 5 risk. Let's see. Herb asking where that storm in Madison will track. That storm is roughly going to track toward, I would say, Ottawa County, given the current trends. So we're going to keep an eye on that one as it continues to form and, of course, eventually push out over Lake Michigan. Clarence saying no rain where they're at yet. Chris is hoping for some thunder, says bring it on this evening. Jillian says baseball at 6 in Morley. Is that a good idea? Really, you're going to have to play that one by ear based on that first round of storms that'll be around, because there is some lightning embedded in that again. So I don't think it's going to be a 100% rain out type situation here this evening with that first round. But if things go late, that's where you really got to be more concerned about what's coming across the lake. But I mean, if you can wrap things up by 8, 9 o'clock and you're in an area where the thunder's not coming recently from this first line, I think you'll be okay. But if it's something that goes later into the evening, that's where you think you're going to need to be a little bit more concerned about things tonight. Let's see, August asking about, or let's see, Augustine asking about Holland. Yes, Holland should see some storms here this evening as well, especially with that second round that comes in later tonight. Let's see. Linda reporting some thunder being heard in Grand Rapids. Wouldn't be too surprised about that. Distant thunder up to the north there. Perry saying thunder in Big Rapids. James getting some light rain. Caitlin asking about winds in Fremont. Now, the concern for winds this evening gets higher the further south that you go. Let me go ahead and pull up some more information here. We'll put the wind outlook on for this evening. You can see those higher wind risk are further to the south, especially southern Michigan, northwestern or northeastern Indiana, northwestern Ohio. That's where the biggest risk for wind will be. But all of us have the risk for winds this evening as our highest threat from these storms. And that one over in Madison right now producing 70+ mile-per-hour wind gust. So we could certainly see some really gusty winds here across the region this evening, but the threat for that increases the further south you go. So up in Fremont, not the lowest tier for wind, but the second lowest tier. So it's not as big of a threat as it is further to the south, but that doesn't mean it's not going to happen either. It's something that you need to keep a close eye on here this evening. We'll walk through the other threats as well. The hail threat here, again, mostly Grand Rapids to the south where we could see some large hail. They've certainly seen it in Wisconsin this evening, so we'll be watching that threat tonight as well. Tornado risk is also a concern, but a lower concern than the other two threats. Looks like I clicked the wrong button. Now let me see if we can get the tornado risk to come back up. Nope. Looks like it does not want to give me the tornado risk. Here, we can put that on there in just a second. There we go. We are back at the wind risk this afternoon. And let me go ahead and we'll manually switch that over to the tornado risk. There we go. So there's your tornado risk this evening. That is, again, going to be further to the south, Grand Rapids and south. I think the biggest chances, again, really going to be in that area, but it's not a primary concern this evening in terms of what the biggest risk factor is. That, again, is that wind risk in the southern counties where they have upgraded to that level 4 out of 5 risk factor for tonight. So go ahead and load up that big map again so you can see those risk outlooks. Again, wind, our biggest concern, and especially the further south that you go. So let's see here. Go back to the comment section. Wayne saying they love the storms. Diana reporting thunder in Cedar. As far as timing for this evening goes, a lot of this activity really not going to be on the other side of the lake until we head towards, say, after 8 o'clock. So we'll watch this timeline here. That first round of storms is pushing in now. Not a whole lot of energy with that one. That's really just going to be thunder showers more than anything else. But watch what happens as we head toward 8, 9 o'clock. That's when we start to see those cells from the other side of the lake work their way into West Michigan, and then stronger activity as we head deeper into the evening. So as you get toward dusk tonight and after dark, that's when you need to be staying most weather aware. And of course, you can do that with 13 on Your Side mobile app, watching us here on 13 on Your Side and WZZM13.com. Still could see some of those 70+ mile-per-hour winds tonight, Abby. That's certainly a possibility that still exists. I think the bigger risk going to be rain, but wind certainly still remains high up there on the list of threats for tonight, so we're going to be watching that one. Susan saying it's dark near Camp Lake in Sparta and just a small amount of thunder. Yeah, that first round again pushing in right now is pretty pretty much just thunder showers. You need to use your normal precaution you would anytime there's lightning around, but don't worry about any severe weather right now. There's none of it here in West Michigan yet. That's what's going to be coming across the lake as we head through the next several hours. Let's see. Nicole says they're in a camper in southern Allegan County. I would make plans to at least have know where you would go if you come under the threat for severe thunderstorms this evening, because those winds, if we get winds in that 70-mile-per-hour zone, that's certainly very dangerous, especially for something like a camper. So at least identify an area of stronger shelter that you would use if you were to need it, because that's something that could become a concern later this evening. Let's see. Billy says it's already stopped raining in Muskegon. Not too surprised about that. Again, this first round is pretty weak stuff coming through right now. Will Muskegon see lightning? Almost certainly. Some lightning around already this evening in the second wave that comes through. Definitely plan on seeing some lightning out there. See Robert reporting rain in Newaygo. Deborah saying Grand Haven, nothing right now. Again, yeah, not too much out of this first system. This is just run-of-the-mill thunder showers right now. Let's see. All right, so I think we're at the end of the list there. Big things, we'll go ahead and we'll recap here, reset real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll wrap up the Facebook Live to get ready for our 5 o'clock newscast coming up on 13 on Your Side, and of course streaming on WZZM13.com and the 13 on Your Side mobile app. Right now what we have in place is a rainfall across West Michigan, thunder showers associated with this, but nothing severe. But our concern will be later this evening when cells like the two that are warned in Wisconsin right now move across the lake. Particularly strong thunderstorm moving along 94 toward Milwaukee from Madison at this hour. Hailstones associated with this storm have been reported as high as 1.75 inches by the Weather Service warning there, 70+ mile-per-hour winds. Let me get rid of the lightning on that storm just so you can see how intense it is on the radar there. Obviously, it's producing a lot of lightning, probably a pretty good chance for hail just south of 94 right in here where you see that white on the radar. Certainly a very strong thunderstorm at this hour. Let me put the lightning counter on too just to see how this guy has grown, and that is a lot of lightning. We're talking 816 strikes in 10 minutes. That is a prolific lightning producer. That storm moving east at about 40 miles per hour. So it's going to be in Milwaukee here in the next hour, and then give it another 2-3 hours to get across the lake after that. So it's not the fastest moving storm in the world, but as we head into this evening, those storms from the other side of the lake going to work their way into West Michigan, and they're going to bring with it the threat for severe weather. Here's that severe weather outlook one more time. The highest risk has been identified further to the south, where they've been upgraded to a level 4 out of 5 risks. That includes Van Buren County, Kalamazoo, Calhoun counties, and south. 94 in south going to be the biggest area of storms tonight when it comes to a severe weather potential, but the risk covers the entirety of West Michigan in various degrees, decreasing the further north that you travel. The other risk going to be the heavy rainfall that could cause some flooding as we head through this evening. Here's the hour-by-hour track. Again, that first system dies off, but then as we head toward 8-9 o'clock tonight and further into the evening, more storms start to come together. Again, possibly severe in nature and certainly heavy rain producers. Those will push out as we head into the early AM hours of Tuesday, and of course we'll be continuing to track them all night long and the threat for flooding rains that come along with them. You can see here the excessive rainfall outlook covers all of West Michigan, most of it with a slight risk for flooding rains as we head into this evening. After we get past tonight's storms, tomorrow brings on the heat index values that go up into triple-digit territory, already prompting heat advisories across West Michigan. They start at noon tomorrow and go till 10 o'clock Wednesday night. We're going to have a full breakdown of all of these severe weather threats and what we can expect with the heat as we head into the next several days, coming up in just about 20 minutes on 13 on Your Side News at 5, and we'll be tracking it through the rest of the evening, possibly here on Facebook Live at times again as well. So make sure you are staying weather aware. You have 13 on Your Side news and weather apps on your phone. You have the weather alerts enabled for this evening, so those can go right to your pocket. And of course, make sure you are following us here on air and at 13onyourside.com. For now, though, I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens in the 13 on Your Side Weather Center. Stay safe out there this evening, West Michigan, and we will keep you informed as the night goes on.